January 20th, 2015. And I last made a clip, or a couple clips, about Russia, being in Russia, and the Gatovs, and how they showed up there, or how one of them was present there among the United States officials. And then I started talking about Josh Gatov and the sequence of what happened with those events when he raped me decades later. And one thing that I did leave out about Russia, I talked about being in the foreign ministry building, and basically I had been in Russia for some time under a temporary political asylum agreement. And I actually had documents. I mean, I was flown over there. And I actually have no idea how I got there. Who took me over there and how I arrived, I am not sure. Maybe if I think about it really hard, I might remember more, but what I remember is that I arrived in Russia and I asked them for political asylum. And they gave it to me. But it was, what I was told was that it was political asylum, and they gave me a citizenship. Like some papers to go with it, and they asked me to choose a new name. And like a Russian name. And I anyway, they told me with these papers and this, I don't know if they gave me a card too of some kind, maybe some sort of a card, but they said you can access our facilities and be treated as a legal Russian person. And there was a dacha in the, sort of in the country. And I stayed there, and I don't remember that much about it, except that it was in Russian, and it was a decent sized one, and I remember it had 2 levels of floors. And there was like a step. I don't remember it being 2 steps, but like a step. Like there was a higher level, like up here, like for one room and area, and then about the space of or depth of maybe one stair. There is like a drop, and then there is a lower level, which was the living room. There was a fireplace and furniture, and I think there was some sort of an office over there. Up on this slightly higher platform was was something else. I don't remember exactly what, but sort of an open, clear area, and then I had a bedroom off to the side, and I was staying there with a man. And he was an American, and what I also don't remember exactly is if it was Bob Garrett or actually Edward Howard. And I don't know why I don't remember that, because I do remember being there with one of the Bob Garrett Juniors. But I believe I was there with some other man too, at some point. Maybe I'm confused about that part, but I sort of remember one of thinking that it was maybe Edward Howard. Because I don't exactly remember it being a Bob Jr. that was staying there with me the whole time, although I do remember this Bob Jr. came in one day and was saying, you have to, or someone was telling me you have to refile for this to be permitted a longer stay under the temporary political asylum agreement. And I said, no, I don't. I argued with whoever told me that because I said I'm already a citizen, and they even gave me a Russian name and everything. So I had the impression that I had already revoked my citizenship with the United States, and that I was a citizen of Russia, actually. I did not ever think that I was just there on a temporary basis. I thought I was there to stay. And when United States, well, someone's told me, well, no, it expired, or it's going to expire, and then they said it did expire. So at that point, a bunch of United States officials were allowed into the country, or allowed access to me. And I'm not exactly sure how they organized it or arranged it with some of the Russians. You know, it's not all the Russians, but the few that were helping to arrange it. They showed up, and then all of a sudden I was being taken. I'm not sure that this one Bob Jr. was willingly going along with it, but he was off to the side, and they said, we want a tour. We showed up from the U.S. and we're going to take you on a tour around Russia to show you some things. And anyway, one of the locations they took me to was to the Gorske Museum. And at the Gorske Museum, it was I was told, you know, come on inside, and it was a children's museum. So I had this idea that this was a children's museum, and one of them was kind of smirking and saying, you want to act, don't you? And I said, well, here's your chance. So they took me inside this museum, and I do know that it was in the town of Vladivostok or whatever, because we stood at a point in the town that was up higher, and you could look down onto an L-shaped river. There was like a port, and it was water, and from where we were, you could look out over across the city and all the skyscrapers and things that they had there. And there was a and from my view there was the port was L-shaped, and the Gorske Museum was in that town, or that province, whatever it is. So I had a bad feeling, actually. I did have an instinct, even though I wasn't psychic anymore, because I had been tortured so much. I was not. It's definitely not. I didn't know what was going to hit me, and but I had some kind of an instinct, like a natural instinct that maybe a lot of us have, even if we're not psychically gifted, or have lost that part. There are sometimes certain feelings you get, like bad feeling. It's something like don't go there, and I got that feeling, but I displaced it from my mind because I just thought, you know, this is a children's museum, and you know, why am I feeling like I shouldn't be going in there? Well, what ended up happening was that I really shouldn't have gone in there. And what greeted me there were a bunch of United States government officials. An official from Canada, at least one from the United Kingdom. I mean, like some kind of British accent. I wondered at first maybe it was Australian, because there are times, on occasion, where I confused the two accents. I'm pretty sure it was It was English. It's British accent. And then, you know, I don't know if this was a woman who just looked like her, but it kind of looked like Yulia Tymoshenko from Ukraine. And I could be wrong about that. But, you know, it's definitely possible that I'm wrong. But for some reason, she always comes to mind when I remember what happened to me there at that museum. And anyway, what happened was I got raped, and there were a bunch of people around. We were in this room, and there were no kids around except for me, and then a couple of the employees had brought some of their own kids. And they had me drink a bunch of vodka. I didn't know. I don't think I knew that it was vodka, or I didn't know that it was such a strong alcohol. And they kept telling me, at first they said it was water. They said, you need some water. And that's at least what I remember. And when I took a drink and it wasn't water, I mean, it was clear, but it wasn't water, I spit it out and they told me to drink it. And what I remember is they said, come on, be social like a real Russian, or something like that. I don't know how they got me to do it, but I drank several glasses. I mean, I was a little kid. I was a young girl, you know, around age 11. And I just forced myself to ignore the sting of this and burn of this alcohol, and guzzled it. And after that, they had this group of men. They told me to bend over and bow to the Middletons. And one of them, they were saying, was Middleton. I'm not quite sure that it was. But supposedly it was, or supposedly the reason I was being brought down to my knees or told to bow was, according to one of them, had something to do with Middleton. And they said, so let's see who the real slut is. And then they raped me. I wasn't lying down. I don't remember being on the floor, like on my back, lying down. I was forced to be bent over something, like a chair or something like that. And they're raping me from behind. And I think at one point, actually, someone did force me down, like at the very last. I was forced down on my back and raped that way. But at first, at least the first couple of individuals who used either some sort of object or something to penetrate me, I wasn't lying down. And I don't really remember everything that was said. It's possible someone said, I'm taking your daughter, while they did this to me. But I know that that was said when I had to leave, when I was being forced to leave the country later, too. So I have to continue this in the next video clip.